There's no word yet on the motive behind the shooting that occurred during a traffic stop. This comes as police are on high alert across the U.S. following the killing of 5 officers in the city of Dallas earlier this month. Well, to discuss that further, we're now joined by Live Malcolm, who is the director of the organization Black People's Advancement and Defense Organization, and he's joining us live now via Skype from Tampa. Thanks very much for joining us, sir. How do you view this incident that's taking place in San Diego, especially, of course, in the context of what had earlier happened in Dallas?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I appreciate you so much for allowing the African working class to have a voice and a part in this discussion, because this discussion, the narrative is so often dominated by mainstream media and slanted towards what they want the masses of people to understand. So I want to appreciate your effort to make sure that everybody's voice is heard regarding these things. We don't have many details about why this occurred, who the alleged shooter is, etc. So I can only speak to the issue in a general way. I would say this: what's clear is that this year, according to Fox News, I believe it was Fox News I was looking at, it's something like a 78% increase of police shootings this year than last year, and that is an indication that people are becoming more and more aware that there's more than one way to vote. There's more, during this election season, the news stories I heard right before we were brought on live was, talking a lot about the election. The reality is there's more than one way to vote. Malcolm X in April of 1964 gave this tremendous instructive speech, the ballot or the bullet. He said this must be the year of the ballot or the bullet, which suggested that there's more than one way to vote then, and it rings true today. And this truly based on Micah Xavier Johnson's efforts to make his voice heard in Dallas, and Gavin Long's making his voice heard in Baton Rouge, that this is the year of the ballot or the bullet. And it seems that because the ballot has not worked for us so far, some Africans are choosing the bullet.
Okay, Mr. Malcolm, we just have a minute left. Hillary Clinton, as you know, spoke at the DNC and said that she would tackle what she called systemic racism. A, is it significant that she admitted that there is systemic racism? And second, will she tackle it?
Racism is not the problem. The problem for African people is that we do not have power. We need power and control over our own lives. There's this narrative, I think it was again Fox News, that says police are being attacked. The reality is most of the times when there are police-involved shootings, the police initiate the stop, the police initiate the encounter, what have you. It is the police who is most often the aggressor. So if anybody is being attacked, if anybody is the attacker, it is the police who are the attackers, and it is African people who are responding to those constant attacks. So I don't know if Hillary Clinton can do anything to solve the problem if she's going after this idea of racism. Racism is not the problem. The problem is Black people in this country, the United States, do not have control over our lives, and we need to be able to say who gets to walk around in our community with the legal right to use deadly force, the legal authority to do policing and all that kind of stuff. So it's not racism, it's a question of power, not racism. Racism is a thought in somebody's head, and what is in somebody's head is not really important to me. What's most important is their ability to use the legal power to make what's in their head have real implications in my life. So we have to have dual and contending powers. We have to control what's going on in our community. We have to have power and control over our own lives.
Very well. We'll leave it there at that point. But of course, Mr. Malcolm, we appreciate you taking your time to speak to us here at Press TV. Now, clashes have erupted between protesters and security